Hi guys, Mischief here. Welcome to the Conspiracy Cupboard, and today's episode is the Todmorden UFO case. Okay, this is a freaky one. So yeah, let's get into West Yorkshire's most prevalent UFO case. Cue the title sequence. So, welcome to the Conspiracy Cupboard. I am Mischief, and I thought I'd cover a lot of UFO cases, abduction stuff from the UK. We never really see a lot of the stuff from UK come up. With the stuff that's been happening over America recently, obviously I'm shooting down Chinese drones. Something was shot down over Alaska, I believe, yesterday, and I'm shooting this today on the 10th of February, 2023. So I'm really interested in the subject anyway, as you can probably tell by the Conspiracy Cupboard. And I'm really fascinated by the British take on this because, like I said in my last video that I did about the A70 abduction in Scotland, you tend to think of this as an American thing. You know, no one in England gets abducted. What are you talking about? There's no UFOs over here. But there's loads and loads of cases, and the more you look into it, the weirder they are, and we have some weirder cases than America. So this one is the Todmorden UFO case. Todmorden is in West Yorkshire. Good old Yorkshire. I'm from Rotherham originally, so not too far from there. So it's the other side, it's near Manchester that way. And it starts off with a really weird case. So on the 6th of June then, 1980, 56-year-old coal miner Zigmund Adamski left his home in Tingley, West Yorkshire, to do some shopping. He never returned. Unfortunately, on the 9th of June, his body was discovered on top of a 10-foot high pile of coal in the village of Todmorden, 20 miles away from his home. Sent to investigate was the local bobby, Alan Godfrey. Now, this would end up ruining Alan's life, as we will see through the process of this. He discovered that while Adamski was wearing a suit, his shirt, wallet and watch were all missing. Adamski's hair had been cropped in what PC Godfrey described as a roughly cut manner. And he only had a day's growth on his beard, despite being missing for over 5 days, which must presume that he must have died or something happened to him on the first day of him disappearing. Despite being missing as well for several days, the young policeman also reported that Adamski had several mysterious burns on his neck, head and shoulders. This was later described by a coroner, James Turnbull, who confirmed that the burns had been treated with some strange ointment that they could not identify at all. This was covering all the burns and marks all over his body, like somebody had tried to heal him or put something on the burns to treat them. We're not too sure, and it still can't be identified by forensic scientists as far as I'm aware. I don't know if any more studies have been done on the substance. But I do know that at the time, they had no idea what this was. Godfrey later said that Adamski had looked like he'd been frightened to death. The expression on his face, the way that he'd been found, he looked terrified. He died when he was completely out of his mind. So Godfrey assumed maybe he'd had some kind of heart attack or seen something that had just completely shocked him into death, basically. And speaking to reporters, PC Godfrey said there was a possibility that Adamski had been abducted by aliens. He basically just said that he's open-minded and that he can't rule it out. The circumstances of his death and disappearance were so strange that, like I say, he went to the shops, disappeared. 5 days later, ends up on a coal hill, big heap in the middle of Todmorden, 20 miles away from his house. It does bring to mind an open case at the moment of a lady that's gone missing walking her dog. I'm not saying that she's been abducted by aliens or anything. It's a conspiracy theory that's out there at the moment of why she's gone missing. And let's just see. I mean, I hope, obviously from everyone here at the Conspiracy Cupboard, we hope that she's safe and well. But yeah, disappearances like this are weird, and when you try and explain them any other way, sometimes you're just stumped. And I think this is what PC Godfrey sort of went through. The true cause of the Lofthouse colliery worker's death remains a mystery to this day then. One wild theory is that that did the rounds in the time, that Adamski was killed by the KGB. Others suggested he had been struck by ball lightning, which caused him to wander off confused and eventually die at the top of the coal heap. To many people, though, there was only one explanation. Adamski encountered alien beings on his way to the shops, and it had cost him his life. Maybe, he'd picked the wrong milk up, they got a bit angry with him, or, he'd won a scratch card, they want it off him. Who knows? You can't tell what aliens want from the shops anymore. They're so bloody picky. I mean, last time I met them, they wanted some pink wafers. I was like, they ain't got any pink wafers in here. You're going to have, Kit Kats or something. Nearly kill me. Not my fault. Go somewhere else that got pink wafers. Anyway, 5 months after the grisly discovery of Adamski's body, Todmorden once again found itself in the centre of immediate attention. This time it was none other than PC Godfrey himself who was in the eye of the storm. He set out at 5 o'clock in the morning to deal with a call about escaped cattle on a housing estate. Godfrey was, according to his own account, stopped dead in his tracks by what he claimed was an unidentified flying object. Godfrey said the object was bright in the sky, a rotating diamond-shaped vessel, 20 feet high and 14 feet wide. Now, the weird thing about this is that I've put a photo on here. I think it's on my Instagram page. I'll try and find it again and put it on here for you as well, of a diamond-shaped object being caught in, I believe it was Scotland, I think, over some fields, being followed by a jet plane. This picture, and put it up here for you, but what he describes has been seen. So diamond-shaped objects have actually been seen over the UK. I don't know if they're a specific UFO to here or whatever, but it's weird how that account does come true when we do have a photograph of a diamond-shaped UFO over the skies of the UK again. So it gives a bit more credibility to Adam's story, and the fact that he was a policeman at the time. You'd hope that his accounts would be true. Also, the fact that he didn't leave anything out of his reporting during the investigation, obviously, of Adamski. He admitted that it could possibly, he wouldn't rule the possibility out of some weird encounter with aliens or something like that, because there was literally no evidence to support anything else other than the fact this guy just disappeared, died of fright somehow, and been burnt and marked all over his body, and ointment had been left on him. Now, whether that was due to a procedure that had happened to him when he'd been abducted, we can only speculate. Obviously, it seems that might have happened, and that he's had some kind of shock during this treatment or whatever it was that they were doing to him. Godfrey made a quick sketch of the object in his notebook and then grabbed his police radio to call the incident in. The line was dead. Suddenly it disappeared in a bright flash. Godfrey found himself sitting in his car 30 yards further down the road. Looking at his watch, the policeman was surprised to see it was 25 minutes later than it had been just moments before. So, as my earlier case on the A70, they lost nearly 3 hours of time. Similar sort of thing. It wasn't a bright object though. It was an object coming over the water, a dark-shaped vessel, and it dropped a curtain of light in front of them. So that account's slightly different, but obviously he's seen this thing, a flash of light occurred, and then he's further down the road. He's lost 20 minutes or so. So, weirder still, his boots were split open, and an itchy mark had appeared on his feet. Wow. Baffled, Godfrey returned to where he had seen the light and discovered the road where his car had been was completely dry, despite the fact it had recently been raining. Getting out to investigate the area, he found the cows he'd been looking for in a park next to the road. They had not been there before he saw the strange object in the sky. What on earth was going on. So obviously this is another thing to do with cattle again and aliens. So whether they'd taken cattle, now this is another thing that I want to look into in the UK. So if anyone's got any information on any sort of cattle mutilations or anything from their farms, if you're watching this and you're a farmer or anything in the UK like that, please let me know. I would love to come out and investigate and get some stuff out there and some equipment and see if we can find any abnormal EMF spikes or any sort of radiation left behind from these things, because it cannot just be a US phenomenon. And his account obviously on the missing cattle and then they appearing, well, so when Godfrey finally managed to report his strange encounter, he was met with scepticism and even ridicule, as you would expect. On the advice of a solicited friend, he decided to see a hypnotherapist to get to the bottom of what he'd witnessed. Under hypnotherapy, Godfrey recalled that he had been blinded by the light and passed out. He told the hypnotist that when he awoke, he was in a strange room being examined by several little creatures and a tall humanoid figure with a beard. Okay, that's a new one that I've heard, that I'm hearing. Again, his claims were met with raised eyebrows and dissurgence. It was mainly from the police force itself that were trying to play this down and sort of put him out, because at this time as well, it was the case of the Yorkshire Ripper, which I'll do a video on because it's fascinating. It's not exactly a conspiracy, but it's a gruesome case, and it'd be fun to get into. But yeah, it was around that time, and I believe that they were trying to dumb this down because they didn't want people panicking about the Yorkshire Ripper and aliens flying over Yorkshire. Or linking in the Yorkshire Ripper at all to alien contact. Several weeks after Godfrey's account had leaked to newspapers and become international news story, he was called into his inspector's office, where he was sat down with a man in a dark suit and a tie, who introduced himself as the man from the ministry. He had with him a file containing Godfrey's drawing of the craft. Godfrey wasn't allowed to see the file or any other bits in his case, but he assumed it also contained his accounts of the evening's events, plus the report of the mysterious death of Zigmund Adamski. The man told Godfrey he was to wear the Official Secrets Act and that he would not be able to talk to anyone about what he had seen or experienced. Godfrey reluctantly agreed. The young police officer then encountered the man on several occasions after this over the next few days. It was clear he was being followed. Eventually, Godfrey confronted the man in his local pub, telling him to clear off in a nice Yorkshire way. Oh, I'm so shy. Yeah. The man disappeared and was never seen again. Who was this mysterious man? Was he an MI5 agent sent to warn him off? Was he a spy from the police? Was he just someone from the local authority who didn't want this getting out, or wanted to put this down? Or was he someone from the ministry, as he claimed? Is this ministry a secret UFO project in the UK? I don't think we'll ever know. Despite it later transpiring that several other police officers and a bus driver has also seen the lights on the morning that Godfrey had seen them, he was still seen as an embarrassment to the police force. He later transferred to Wakefield, and someone actually attempted to have him sectioned for his actions and his account of the evening. He later claimed that he was hounded out of the police for refusing to give up on his story. He also told a negative impact on the incident it had on his family. He said, "I wish I'd never seen that UFO, particularly because of the effects on my children." He was later to reflect, it's not easy having a policeman as a father, but when he's a policeman who saw a UFO, that's even worse. Since the two incidents in 1980, Todmorden and other areas of West Yorkshire have become UFO hotspots. Mysterious objects have been reported for 40 years above the Pennines and across the skies above Holfirm, Rothwell, and in 2016, the other famous Ribblehead Viaduct. Strange lights could be seen hovering in the sky for several hours. So, we're getting more and more reports that come across from Derbyshire down to up to Yorkshire and right through England. So if anyone's seen anything, please just stick it on here, put it in the email above, and I will have a look into this. Like I say, there's a village not far from myself that I'll be going to investigate, whether it's the pub landlord that made it all up, or whether they did see a UFO. We don't know. All I know is the pub landlord was giving tours up there, and that's what I would have done if anyone would have seen a UFO out there. So, a mere year after Godfrey's experience, Todmorden local Vicky Dinsdale was out walking her dog with her grandfather when they saw a long, thin, diamond-shaped object that kept changing colour. Vicky's grandfather, a former sergeant in the army, told the young girl to keep what they saw to themselves, mindful of the ridicule visited on Godfrey. So is there an explanation for what happened to Zigmund Adamski and PC Godfrey, or indeed for the numerous incidents that have happened over the 40 decades since? Despite many people attempting to get to the bottom of this intriguing mystery, no one has ever managed to come up with a definitive answer. In the case of Adamski, the state of his clothes, his cropped hair, one-day beard growth, the strange burns, still baffle people to this day, and the substance that cannot be identified. As for Godfrey's account, we just have his word to go on. But then again, it's 1980. He wouldn't have been taking pictures. He's a police officer. He reported exactly what he saw. He wanted to get to the bottom of this, and he reported it the instant it happened, or tried to at least anyway. And then, even though he knew he'd get ridiculed, he took it. He reported what he saw, and you can't take that away from him. He still swears that something out of the ordinary happened to him that night. Plus, there's a small matter that he wasn't the only one who reported strange going on that morning. We don't know if anyone reported anything the night of Adamski's disappearance, but we know that they reported something on his morning. In Godfrey's own word, the nuts and bolts craft, not a trick of the mind. It was there. Godfrey told an audience in Halifax back in 2014, "I've never seen anything like it, and I would swear on the Bible it was from somewhere else. These things have been seen so many times over Todmorden, they called the area UFO Alley." Did aliens have something to do with the 56-year-old's death of the miner? I don't know. But after his accounts and seeing what happened, I can't take anything away from the guy. So what do you think? Is West Yorkshire being overrun by aliens? Is Todmorden a hot spot? If you live in Todmorden and you've seen anything like this yourself, the diamond-shaped craft, emitting light, please let me know. If you've got any photos of this, please put them on. All I have is drawings and this one photo of the one over Scotland, which does, again, it backs up Godfrey's story. All these people described a diamond-shaped craft, and this is what's being seen around Todmorden. So is it something that's from here? I wonder. Is it actually something that's connected to the UK? Is it something that our ancestors saw here, our pagan ancestors? Are these some of the sky gods that we talked about or spoke about? It's a fascinating subject. So if you want to go and have a little hunt around Todmorden, see if you can find anything yourself, by all means do. I'm going to be trying to take a visit up there. I'm also going to go to Bonsall as well to have a visit over there. I'm just really busy with work at the minute. I'm trying to sort this out. Like I said, I'm a guy in the shed, trying to do my best, man. So I'm reporting for you. So if you've got anywhere you want to go in the UK, right, I'll try and find a UFO report about it, and I'll put them on there. So there's going to be plenty more UFO cases coming from the UK from me. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think the guy was killed by aliens? Do you think Adamski was killed by aliens and left there with these burns and marks on him and this strange ointment? Do you think Godfrey did see a UFO? Please let me know. And if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. I know everyone says that and it's thickening. Please like and subscribe my video, please, because I want to make... No, I just like people to see these videos and share this stuff. As you know, my other topics coming up are on why archaeologists hate Graham Hancock. It's going to be a fun one. I'm hoping to get an archaeologist on, basically to tell me why he hates him, and then I can tell him why I like him. But otherwise, the episode will just be me honestly going through why they don't like him and what they cherry pick about him. And yeah, I've still got stuff coming up about the Bendal engine, so the Michael Bendal engine. I'm just trying to do my own research on it and see if it actually is a feasible thing before I put a video out there about it. It's very complicated. I can't get my head around it. myself. The Bandal engine is weird. It's part of this sacred geometry stuff, and possible links to Nikola Tesla. Who knows? It's mind blowing. So yeah, I'll be back with some more UFO cases for you, and yeah, on why people hate Graham Hancock. Until next time, Mischief signing out.